All right, so we're supposed to look at the onion cells. Do the onion cells appear to have cell walls? Yes. Where is the cell membrane located to the cell walls? It is on the inside of the cell walls. If materials are able to go in and out of the cell, why are the holes in the cells not visible? They are small to see. They're microscopic. Yeah, they're there, but with the light microscope. Describe the nucleus in most of your cells. Yeah, well, describe it in terms of what you see, though, right? It's a circle. It was like a dark circle, right? In the middle of the cell. Since we stained it with iodine, what color was it?
It was like reddish,
yeah, like an amber color. That's a good color. What structures are found in the nucleus? DNA, right? It's wrapped around proteins, so it's actually in the form of something called chromatin. Chromosome is when it's about to divide and it coils up really thick. So, what is a vacuole? Why are they so much larger in plant cells? A vacuole is a large storage organelle. They're much larger in plant cells because they have a central vacuole that stores water for the plant. Plant cells contain a central vacuole that stores water for the plant. So if you're looking at your onion, right? It probably looked like this, right? Very square-like. You probably had a couple of them. You didn't have to really draw that many. Right? The cell membrane was on the, first of all, the cell wall was on the outside. Right? Now, on the inside, however, right? On the inside was the cell membrane. The nucleus was this guy right here. The cytoplasm was the stuff in the middle. You couldn't really see the vacuole, right? It wasn't really visible. But if it was anywhere, it would have been like in the center. It would have been there, but you couldn't really see it. Now, most of you probably drew it at about probably around medium power. The Elodea cells, the green structures were the chloroplasts, right? What process took care? Oops, not phyto, photo. Photosynthesis. Do animal cells have these green structures? No, we don't go through photosynthesis. Is it possible to see the nuclei? Well, if you added iodine, you could have. Right. Is it possible to see the nuclei in the cells? Yes. If you cannot see the nuclei in most of these cells, why do you think this is so? What was probably blocking the nuclei? All those chloroplasts, right? There was lots of chloroplasts in the way, all that green stuff. Or if you didn't stain it well enough, oops. What do you think is causing the chloroplast to appear around the edges of the cell? What was in the middle of the plant cell that pushed everything off to the side? Large central what? Vacuole. The Elodea, you probably should have had, like, you know. Some of you might have been able to see a nucleus, but for the most part, you saw a bunch of these guys. Oh, is that green right there? Is that green? Is that green right there? It's red. Can you tell? Is that green?
No, that's yellow. That's still yellow.
Is that green?
No, that's orange.
The joys of being colorblind. You add all these guys in there, right? A lot of the times they're pushed around the edges of the cell, right? Because the central vacuole you probably zoomed in at 400 times. So the cell wall's on the outside, right? Cell wall. Cell membrane was going to be on the inside. Cell membrane. Chloroplast for these guys. Right. Cytoplasm's on the middle, right? And sometimes if you add iodine, you could see a faint little kind of nucleus in the middle. That would be the nucleus. The cheek cells. Why are they more irregular than the onion? They don't have a cell wall. Why don't you see any chloroplasts? Because animals do not have chloroplasts because they don't go through what process? Photosynthesis. Are these eukaryotic or prokaryotic cells, the cheek cells? So here's your cheek cells. They kind of look like this, right? Well, let's just... Is that blue? So you pretty much had this cell membrane right there. There's no cell wall. Nucleus, and then cytoplasm. Probably got it up to high. Potato cells. When you stain the potato cells with blue, first of all, when you stain it with iodine, what organelles were most visible? They were called the leucoplasts. They contained starch. What organelles were most visible when you stained it with the blue stuff? Did anybody stain it with the blue stuff? What did you see? Just a cell wall, right? So, with iodine, you got your potato. I mean, you had a couple, let's just do, and then they had these really dark, right, leucoplasts inside of them, correct? Okay, and so your cell wall was right there. Your cytoplasm was right there. And then your leucoplasts were those guys. Oops. That's probably at like 400. If the potato with the methylene blue, we'll just call it the blue stuff, right? The circles were not stained, right? So they kind of looked like that. In fact, they were probably draw it with blue. And same thing though, cell wall. Those were the leucoplasts. And then that was the cytoplasm. What structures were not visible in any of the cells that you observed? Anybody see any ribosomes? They're probably too small. I didn't see any Golgi apparatus, right? Rough or smooth ER. Any lysosomes? Those structures were not visible. They weren't stained to be visible. They're very transparent. Why were there no chloroplasts in the potato cells or the onion cells? Is that where the where will you find an onion and a potato? Yeah, they're underground. Yes. These structures store the sugar. The leaves above ground is where photosynthesis takes place. Three differences. Well, plant cells have a cell wall. They have a central vacuole. Right. And they also have what? Animal cells do not. Why did we not look at any bacteria, prokaryotic cells? Name the three cell or tissues that make up the human hand. Well, we have muscle cells, blood cells, skin cells. There's also bone cells, actually. The different types of tissues are, but there's also, you know what? Nerve cells. The tissues, there's three types of tissues. We call them epithelial, muscular, connective, and nervous. You would find all four of those in your hand. They just, you can pick just three of the different types. You have lots of different cell types, right? Do all cells look the same? No, I think that's the point.